kicked at a small pebble on the walk, considering for the 40th time the idea of leaving the field to Joshua. But that was another reason for his anger. Joshua was a fool. One could almost sense the and Nathan darn well knew what was eating at him. Going to the McBride store. That was before Nathan had met Lydia himself. He had been transfixed, staring at the raven-haired beauty with the fair skin, the winsome smile, and those dark, teasing eyes. And Nathan could still close the image of her standing amidst the apple blossoms, filling the air with the sorrowful tale of Barbara Allen. He kicked at a small pebble on the walk, considering for the 40th time the idea of leaving the field to Joshua. No. That's not what it is. It's that the field was never Joshua's. It's that Joshua is the only person in this family with any sense and any honesty. Joshua's honest. He made his intentions clear. He wants Lydia. He wants to marry her. He wants to do everything right. Nathan didn't give a shit. Street, and she was gonna bed Joshua or not that night. It was full time and has not made her intentions clear. She needs to drop it now. She needs to let him go, and she needs to let him be done with her because she's not into him, and she just realized it. And she hasn't told Joshua. And so for Nathan to be doing what he's doing, he's being a little piece of shit. He's being a prick. He's having no respect for his brother because according to his brother and Lydia, they've basically been engaged and were about to get married. And just nobody knew what was going on. It's such a fight on every side, but now that there's no fight, because Lydia doesn't want Joshua. And so Nathan's going about this all wrong. Completely wrong. And he has the audacity to call Joshua a fool when he's a little lying piece of shit. That was before Nathan had met Lydia himself. Aww. He kicked at a small pebble on the walk, considering for the 40th time the idea of leaving the field to Joshua. But that was another reason for his anger. Joshua was a fool. Oh, Nathan, I like you less and less every word. Joshua, well, at least male. Besides Matthew, maybe. Nathan could still remember the way Lydia looked at Joshua back in those first days. One could almost sense the breathlessness of her spirit when Joshua was around. But that was gone now. Yeah, but you didn't know that until today, right fucking 30 seconds ago, you piece of shit. You're being such an asshole to your brother. And you're misinterpreting everything. The way that it actually should have been until about 30 seconds ago is you should have gone in there and treated it as though somehow Lydia and your brother were married and had the approval of her parents, because this thing is still happening and you didn't know yet. Instead, you've been going around behind his back in secret doing this thing on your own. You just realized 30 seconds ago that Lydia's no longer into your brother. When your brother went into the store 45 seconds ago, you totally thought that basically the two were married. But Joshua is the fool. He sighed, wondering if this might not be his own hopes talking. Then he shook his head. There was no mistaking the dismay which darkened. But you've been going about it as though hoping for that. If you had that, you would be opposite of where you are. Something had happened. You would have been wondering what caused the sudden change. You would feel some loyalty to your brother, and you would feel some loyalty to her, for him, and for him, for her. And you would wonder if there was something that needed to be done to fix the situation. No, this dude's trying to stick his hand in her pants through her eyes faster than he remembers he even has a brother. It's been what? Okay. Lydia, pregnant. That's not what happened, because Lydia decided she had decided that she did want him, because he already decided he did want her. So now that she knows she doesn't want him, all you can do is let him know that he's pursuing. You're trying to provoke your brother so bad that he actually kills you, and you get to blame him. These awful, twisted, manipulative bullshit. Everyone seemed to whom was his mother. Joshua's curt rebuff of the invitation to the birthday meal irked Nathan. Pa was one thing. That wasn't good. But it was understandable. But Ma, that really galled him. Yeah, but your inability to understand what he clearly told you to your face he doesn't want to see his dad. Should do something worse than gall you. Good afternoon, Mr. Steed. Nathan looked up, startled. An attractive, well-dressed woman was approaching him. She was tall and slender, perhaps 2 or 3 inches taller than Lydia, but had the same glistening dark hair. Her hair was pulled back from her face and fell at the back. Stopping, she held out her hand. Smiling at his confusion. I'm Emma Smith. Yeah. Yes, I remember now. How? She smiled even more. I'm fine, thank you. And please call me Emma. A week or so after Nathan's father had told Joseph and Hiram not to come back to work again, Nathan had met the whole Smith family in the village. It had been an embarrassing moment for Nathan. He had tried to apologize for his father's actions, but Joseph had simply smiled and brushed it aside and proceeded to introduce him to his family. Father Smith, as they called him, since his name was Joseph too, was a quiet man, and now Nathan could barely remember him. Joseph's mother, a tiny woman, not 5 feet tall and weighing less than 100 pounds, had the opposite impression on him. Nathan had liked her almost instantly. It flashed with quick anger when Nathan mentioned what the townspeople were saying about Joseph. There had been a sister and 2 younger brothers, but Nathan and Hiram had both been accompanied by their wives, Jerusha, he remembered, Emma and Jerusha. Joseph was just speaking of you the other day, Emma was saying. Oh? Yes, he was wondering how the crops turned out for your family. The crops. We did well, thanks to the help of he and Hiram. Oh my god. Thanks to the help of him and Hiram. Or thanks to the help of Hiram and him. I still don't have my red grammar pen. But there's another one. We did well, thanks to the help he... Oh, never mind. I just didn't read to the end of the sentence. The sentence is completely different than I was thinking. And I was trying to construct a correct sentence that would be incorrect. What the hell? We did well, thanks to the land. Yeah, that's grammatically correct. Good, I'll tell him. Is Joseph in town with you? Yes, he's at the livery stable, checking on some harness equipment. I'd like to see him. Would you mind if I walked with you? Not at all. I'm going there now. As he told her, Nathan remembered a phrase Hiram had once used when he spoke of Joseph's new wife. Or at least she was a gracious lady. That assessment. It was not hard to see why Joseph had felt it worth his time to make the 120-mile journey to her. Her speech was cultured and precise, but she was warm and quick. I haven't seen Joseph all summer, Nathan said. Someone said you two had returned to Harmony. Only to get my things, Emma replied. And then 120 miles. All you did was get your stuff. 240 miles. 10 days. Five to 10 days. 5 days back. But they were gone a month. They must have been going very slow in their cart or stopping every single, well, let's just say they weren't in a hurry to get there or to get back. That's what it said, right? 120-mile journey. If you had nothing else to do but go there and back, literally, you could do 50 miles a day if you had like a horse and buggy. And so I'm saying, well, go easy on the horses. That's 25 miles. And so I'm saying, go even easier on the horses. That's 12 miles. Literally, you can't go much slower than that if you spend all day just in a cart with two or a horse pulling you, little buggy thing. Literally, your horse has to walk. It's going to be, 2 miles an hour? 10-hour day, you've gone 20 miles. So... the hell? It's like they stayed at an Airbnb that they found for cheap for 3 weeks and then did the rest of their journey. leg. A slight frown crossed her face. My parents did not approve of my marrying Joseph. There's still a little strain there. Surprised at her frankness. 4 hours, miles a day, they walked themselves. They had nothing better to do. They didn't take a horse. Then how did they bring their stuff back? Well, they walked. Okay, literally, what? But 120 miles sounds so far away. Surprised at her frankness, Nathan merely. He can't believe when people don't just lie about everything. She turned and looked at him. Except for Emma. Joseph, only you. I will literally stand in the way of polygamy. For you. For the She just needed someone to take care of her. Yes, he stopped, not sure if she expected a response, or so, what it should be. Many times since then, it still stirred him deeply, stirred and disturbed. That was one of the reasons why he had been hoping to see Joseph again. If she had noticed his hesitation, she gave no sign. And the gold plates, did he tell you of those as well? Nathan turned and looked at her, then slowly shook his head. The gold plates. They were part of the Nathan about them. And with the cessation of their employment at the Steeds, Nathan had no chance to inquire further about them. Now Emma was confirming it. Or was she? She smiled somewhat wistfully, again not noticing his distraction. Well, my father finds all this about Joseph as difficult to accept as most other people. Nathan gave a nod. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? It's not like your dad had Joseph tell him. Nathan gave her a sympathetic nod, wanting to ask for more details, but sensing her mind was lost. He determined at that moment to press Joseph further about the matter at the first opportunity. And I cannot the show, things just wouldn't be this way. I don't care how many times Mariah stupid tab or whatever it was. Families. If the show is one, ugh. He determined at that moment to press Joseph further about the matter at the first opportunity. Yeah, let's interrogate it until they convince you again. Wow, that's backwards. Would you mind if we cross the street? Nathan looked up in surprise. Slowed her step, her eyes clearly. 4 doors ahead of them, 3 men had just come out of Lily's coffee house and tavern. They were staring in their is using it as an excuse to go murder people. Every wife that goes on about loyalty wants to go cheat and is doing and is talking because her husband is not cheating out of it that it's her, so she has to blame him. Every single lecture a dad gave to his son is not about and won't admit that the son is literally never from his father for doing the work that his father would do if he hadn't created his son. Dad will never stop running you away from the family so that you leave and don't come back. Till he dies. He hates you. He doesn't want you. He wished he'd never made you. And the only person he does not have to. Everybody's reasons I don't trust anything anyone says. I don't trust everyone is just lying. About 4 doors ahead of them, 3 men had just come out of Lily's coffee house and tavern. They were staring in their direction. One man's arm lifted and pointed at them. What the fuck? I do not believe that there has ever been a coffee house and tavern. That's not a thing. This is such bullshit. Shut my mouth if somebody just shows me like it. Of course not, Nathan said quickly. Remember, had confronted Joseph. They stopped on the boardwalk, waiting for a large wagon loaded with sacks of grain to pass, then hurried across the street. Thank you. She was on the verge of saying more, but stopped abruptly. One of the men had darted back to the door of the tavern and was calling. Didn't recognize either man, but there was no mistaking them. That's not it. I shouldn't have said I just. I should have. No. A good man would figure out how to work less so that he could teach it to his children. Instead of telling them that they're lazy pieces of shit because they don't want to work hard all day long, every single day for God. Because it's not for God, it's for you, you lazy ass old man. I'm not lazy because I work hard all day. No. Those are 2 different things. If you have the energy to work hard all day, if it's what you do, if it's what you like to do, that's one thing. If you have a child born who's the opposite of you, you call them lazy because they're not like you. Just because you start feeling bad if you sit down and stop doing things doesn't mean you have to make your children feel bad because they don't feel bad and don't have anything wrong with them. Nathan. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Actually, wow. Wow. Actually. Actually, wow. Wow. Changing sides with her so he was on the outside and she was next to the buildings. Nathan didn't recognize either man, but there was no mistaking their intent. One was already leering as the two men stepped onto the sidewalk and planted their feet, blocking the way. Well, if it ain't Mrs. Joe Smith herself, the older man said, bowing low in a mock curtsy. Bowing low is not a curtsy. A curtsy is like skirt squat, a little dress bow. What the head, but like raise my hands? If I were to bow, I would like put one hand like on my gut and put the other behind my back and like lower my head, break eye contact, and then look back up. I don't. Girls curtsy, men bow. If a girl bows, you see upper skirt. Well, no, you don't because they wear dresses. Well, yes, you do if it's a skirt. Gee, the hell. It's because they sold out 12 printings in 4 years. That's why I'm harping on their grammar. And because they copyright their own name. Come to find out that the real wealth of the church is tithing. No, 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 no. It's the tithing. Well, if it ain't Mrs. Joe Smith herself. The second man was shabbily dressed, which is important, right? Because that matters. Carried 3 or 4 days of whiskers and had bloodshot eyes. I have such bad skin problems. I would shave once a week if I shaved. Every single day, but then that has to be. Oh, right, because I'm thinking over here, well, they didn't have a sharp of razors, but that's probably. He obviously had more to drink than his companion, or held it with less dignity, for he weaved precariously as he fell quickly into step alongside them. Oh, now, Miss Smith, what's your hurry? Where's old Joe nowadays? Heard tell he fled the country. Out of the corner of his eye, Nathan saw Emma's lips tighten into a hard line. He moved enough to gently shoulder the man off the sidewalk. Mrs. Smith is late for an appointment. Excuse us, please. Okay, well, they're behaving worse than Gavin Newsom. I'm just saying. This man turned and walked. Not that you have to, and also not that it. Which, at the same time, the homeless people weren't standing in Gavin Newsom's way. I don't think that's true. Some of them did. Not on a boardwalk. Yeah, we don't have those. And they didn't actually stand in their way. They moved aside, it shows. Hi now, Miss Smith. What's your hurry? Where's old Joe nowadays? Until he fled the country. Okay, because if she was alone, she would have to shoulder through them, which means that she would have to touch them to get past them. If she tried to go around them, they would move. And she's not going to answer their questions or talk to them. If she stood her ground until they felt awkward and uncomfortable enough to move aside, they would. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this in the first place. Out of the corner of his eye, Nathan saw Emma's lips tighten into a hard line. But no, she's going to ignore them and not address it. The first man turned and walked backwards so he could face them as he talked, which is their prerogative, they may. But also, did Nathan push the guy out of the way? Because that's... I'm not exactly sure what it means. He moved enough to gently shoulder the man off the sidewalk. Yes, he used physical, kinetic motion and touching to move the man. So he used the dickhole ass fuck, I'm in charge, badass alpha male type energy. Move the fuck out of my way, I'm escorting a lady. Instead of like looking him in the eyes. Who's a good person here? The first man turned and walked backwards so he could face them as he talked. Why, ain't that sweet, Luke? Miss Smith here has done and gone and got herself an escort. Nathan felt his temper rising, but he merely increased his step slightly, causing the man to nearly trip and to turn around to walk a step behind. She didn't take his elbow, he took her elbow. So he's somehow playing the little child of mommy card while also playing the get the fuck out of my way intense shoulder bump, but he said it was gentle move card. He's trying to half-ass it two ways instead of just being a decent human being. He wants to touch Emma. He wants to be a man. But he does it as a little, pretending to be Matthew. And justifying it by going about it in a way that doesn't reasonably acknowledge that they back, but he touched them first. Nathan felt his temper rising, but he merely increased his step slightly, causing the man to nearly trip. Across the street, 3 more men came out of the tavern. They stopped for a moment to watch, then hurried across the sidewalk, blocking any progress now. Sensing this was quickly getting out of hand. Yeah, like no boundaries. I wonder if Benjamin hit his kids or not. It didn't say he did. It didn't say he did. Hell, I'd rather get hit than be treated the way he treats Joshua. There's also that. And if he did hit anybody, it would have been Joshua, not Nathan. I'm going to say he didn't hit his kids because they lost like the first 4 or 5. So maybe he's like, treats them like they're a little more rodents that take up the time he spends with his wife and sucks on her boobs and he probably doesn't get to. But Nathan, and it was before you touched Emma and before you touched this random stranger. 2 women coming in there, then moved closer, cautious but curious. A passing buckboard with a family in it slowed, then pulled to a stop, close enough to hear without actually joining in. Please let us pass, Nathan said quietly. Okay, now you're doing some other third thing that also doesn't work. Kid, don't ask them for permission. What the fuck are you doing?
My fault, including all the problems I'm gonna have for the rest of my life with my brother because of Lydia. Not because of me, because of Lydia. Including all the problems I'm having right now because of Emma. Not because of me. Uh-huh. No, because of them. Not because of Emma. Uh-huh. Please let us pass. Yeah, fucking right, dude. That is not a card that you can play effectively in this scenario.
He even says please and excuse him. The second. And get everybody's attention on the fact that Joseph's right there, yes. Because instead of his beautiful, lovely wife that they just wanted to look at, it'll be the dude that they fucking hate and can't stand because they want to fuck his wife and he gets to. Now we're gonna bring in some jealousy. I bet you they don't have a problem touching Joseph back. Even if they're not willing to hit Nathan yet. And Nathan's the only one so far that has touched Emma. Don't tell me I'm gonna get... Every single opportunity. You don't. It's not to say he's not real. It's just I'm. And people pray to God to get them away from the devil. And God's like, I don't know, maybe pray to Jesus, maybe. Maybe he'll be your defense. God's the only instead of the church handbook. It is the peace fight. Oh. Emma, are you alright? What are you out looking for more treasure down Pennsylvania?